She couldn't walk. She couldn't run. She couldn't escape. So she did something better. She watched. She listened. She remembered. And she wrote everything down. For 3 years, Blessing Amadi worked as a maid in the Obi household. For 3 years, she watched Marcus Obi humiliate his crippled wife in ways that would make your stomach turn. He called her useless, worthless, a burden he should have thrown away. He made her beg for food, beg for water. I begged for the medication that kept her alive. And every single time, every cruel word, every act of cruelty, Blessing was there, watching, taking notes. Marcus never suspected a thing. Why would he? She was just the maid, invisible, unimportant, part of the furniture. But furniture doesn't have a photographic memory. Furniture doesn't have a law degree it never got to use. And furniture definitely doesn't have a direct line to the most powerful man in Chicago. This is the story of how a maid brought down an empire, and how a crippled woman finally got to stand tall. But before I tell you how it ended, let me tell you how it began. And real quick, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Are you in the US, UK, Canada, Africa? Let me know. Now back to the story. 4 years ago, Nneka Nwachukwu was a different woman. She was 34 years old, beautiful, brilliant. A Harvard-trained architect with her own firm in Chicago. She had designed 3 of the most innovative buildings in the city's skyline. She drove a Range Rover. She wore designer clothes. She had dinner with mayors and senators. And she was in love. Marcus Obi came into her life like a summer storm. Handsome, charming, a self-made entrepreneur with a tech company that was about to go public. "You're the most extraordinary woman I've ever met," he told her on their second date. "Oh, I don't just want to know you. I want to deserve you." Nneka had heard compliments before, but something about Marcus felt different. He remembered the little things, her favorite flowers, the way she liked her coffee, the architect who inspired her as a child. He showed up, consistently, relentlessly. He made her feel seen in a way no one ever had. 6 months later, he proposed. Her father, Chief Emmanuel Nwachukwu, had concerns. "There's something about him I don't trust," he told Nneka in his study. "His smile doesn't reach his eyes." "Papa, you say that about everyone." "Not everyone, just the ones who want something. He doesn't need my money. His company is worth millions." Chief Emmanuel shook his head slowly. "Money isn't the only thing men want, my daughter. Some want power, some want status, and some want to own something beautiful just to prove they can." Nneka laughed it off. Her father was overprotective, old-fashioned. He didn't understand modern love. 3 months later, she married Marcus Obi. And 3 months after that, she understood exactly what her father meant. The accident happened on a Tuesday evening, the kind of ordinary evening that changes everything. Nneka was driving home from a client meeting, rain pouring down, visibility poor. She never saw the truck that ran the red light. She woke up 3 weeks later in a hospital bed. The doctors told her she was lucky to be alive. They also told her she would never walk again. Spinal cord injury, permanent paralysis from the waist down. Nneka's world collapsed. But Marcus was there, by her bedside, holding her hand, wiping her tears. "We'll get through this together," he said. "I married you for better or worse. This doesn't change anything." She believed him. For about 6 months. Then the real Marcus emerged. It started small, comments that felt like paper cuts. "You used to be so beautiful, now look at you. I didn't sign up to be a nurse. Do you know how embarrassing it is to have a wife in a wheelchair?" Nneka told herself he was stressed. Adjusting, that he would come around. He didn't come around. He came down. Harder, crueler, more creative in his torment. He fired the physical therapist who was helping her regain upper body strength. "Waste of money," he said. "You're not getting better." He moved her bedroom to the basement. "The stairs are too much trouble. You'll be more comfortable down there." The basement was cold, dark, damp. She was not more comfortable, but the worst part, the part that broke something inside her, was how he did it all in front of the staff. He wanted witnesses. He wanted her to know that everyone saw her humiliation, that everyone knew she was nothing, and that no one would help. If you're feeling angry right now, hit that like button. Let me know you're with Neka. Because what happens next is going to make your blood boil. Blessing Amadi arrived at the Obi household on a cold January morning. She was 32 years old, quiet, unassuming, the kind of person you look past without seeing, which was exactly what she wanted. Marcus barely glanced at her during the interview. He was more interested in his phone. Can you cook? Clean? Keep your mouth shut? Yes, sir. My wife is disabled. She requires basic care, feeding, bathing, that sort of thing. Can you handle that? Yes, sir. She's also dramatic, exaggerates, makes things up for attention. If she tells you stories, ignore them. Understood? Blessing kept her face neutral. Understood, sir. Good. You start tomorrow. He didn't ask about her background, her references, her education. If he had, he would have learned that Blessing Amadi had graduated top of her law class at Northwestern University. He would have learned that she had worked as a prosecutor for 3 years before her mother's illness forced her to leave. He would have learned that she had been handpicked for this job by Chief Emmanuel Nwachukwu himself. But Marcus didn't ask, and Blessing didn't tell. The first time Blessing saw Marcus humiliate Neka, she almost broke cover. It was a Thursday evening, dinner time. Neka was sitting at the kitchen table in her wheelchair. Blessing had prepared a simple meal: grilled chicken, vegetables, rice. Marcus walked in, looked at the plate, looked at his wife. Why are you eating in here? Neka's voice was small. I thought, you said I could. I said you could eat after I finished. Did I finish? No, I'm sorry. I'll wait. Marcus picked up her plate, walked to the trash can, and scraped every bit of food into the garbage. Maybe hunger will teach you to listen. He walked out. Neka sat in silence, her hands trembling in her lap. Blessing stood at the counter, dish towel in her hands, face carefully blank. But inside, a fire was building. She had been sent here to document, to gather evidence, to build a case. But in that moment, she wanted to do much more than take notes. She wanted to make him pay. I'll make you another plate, Blessing said quietly. When he's asleep. Neka looked up, tears in her eyes. He checks the fridge. He counts everything. He'll know. Then I'll bring food from outside. He won't know. You could lose your job. Blessing walked over, knelt beside the wheelchair, looked into Neka's eyes. Some things are more important than a job. That night, Blessing smuggled in a sandwich from a deli down the street. She watched Neka eat it in the basement, crying with each bite. And she wrote everything down in a small leather notebook. Date, time, what he said, what he did, how Neka responded. Page after page, and day after day, week after week. The notebook grew thick with evidence, and Marcus never suspected a thing. Over the next 2 years, Blessing documented over 400 incidents. She recorded the days Marcus turned off Nika's heat in the basement during winter. She recorded the times he forgot to give Nika her medication, leaving her in agony for days. She recorded the dinner parties where he told guests his wife was mentally unstable and prone to hysteria. She recorded the night he dragged Nika out of her wheelchair and left her on the floor for 6 hours because she had looked at him wrong. She recorded it all. But she also did more than document. She became Neka's only friend, her only comfort, her only connection to humanity. She read to her when Marcus was away. She brushed her hair. I'm me. It was a Sunday afternoon. Marcus was no longer allowed to see, and she told her the truth. Your father sent me. It was a Sunday afternoon. Marcus was at a golf tournament. They had hours alone. Neka stared at her. What? Chief Emmanuel. He never stopped looking for a way to help you. But Marcus was smart. He isolated you completely. Changed your phone number. Moved you away from everyone who knew you. Convinced the world you were mentally unwell and didn't want visitors. Neka's eyes filled with tears. Papa tried to see me? 17 times. Marcus threatened him with a restraining order. Said you had signed documents saying you didn't want contact. I never signed anything like that. I know. The signatures were forged. We have experts who confirmed it. Neka was shaking now. Why didn't Papa just what? Break in? Kidnap you? Marcus has lawyers, security, connections. Your father needed proof. Undeniable, overwhelming proof of what was happening in this house. She pulled out the leather notebook. And now he has it. Neka reached for the notebook, her hands trembling. She opened it, read the first page, then the second, then the 10th. Page after page of her own suffering, documented in careful detail. You wrote all of this? Every word, every incident, every date and time. Why? You didn't even know me. Blessing sat down across from her. Because I believe that evil wins when good people do nothing. Because I have a law degree I thought I'd never use again. Because your father offered me the chance to help take down a monster. She paused. And because you deserve someone in your corner, Neka. Even if you didn't know they were there. Neka broke down crying. Not tears of sadness. Tears of something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. Now, if this story is touching your heart, do me a favor. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone going through a hard time. Someone who feels invisible. Let them know that help sometimes comes from unexpected places. Now, let me tell you how Marcus Obi's empire came crashing down. The day of reckoning came on a Thursday morning. Marcus was in his office at Obi Technologies, preparing for the biggest meeting of his career. A $200 million acquisition deal. The culmination of everything he had built. His business partner, Tabena, walked in. The investors are here. Conference room B. Perfect. Marcus straightened his tie. Let's make history. He walked into the conference room with his signature confidence, the smile that had charmed investors, clients, and juries for years. But when he looked at the faces around the table, his smile faltered, because sitting at the head of the table was not an investor. It was Chief Emmanuel Nwachukwu, and beside him sat a woman Marcus had fired 2 weeks ago. Blessing Amadi. Please, sit down, Mr. Obi. Chief Emmanuel's voice was ice. We have much to discuss. Marcus's face went pale. What is this? Where are the investors? There are no investors. There never were. I bought the company that was going to acquire you. Took me 18 months and $43 million. But here we are. He gestured to the chair. Sit. Marcus didn't sit. I don't know what you think you're doing, but I think I'm saving my daughter. Chief Emmanuel nodded to Blessing. Blessing stood. She walked to the large screen on the wall, plugged in a USB drive, and the screen came alive with images. Photos of Nika in the basement. Photos of her injuries. Photos of the living conditions Marcus had forced her to endure. Then came the audio recordings. Marcus's voice, crystal clear. You're worthless. You're nothing. I should have left you on the street where you belong. Marcus's voice again. Cry all you want. No one's coming to save you. Your father thinks you're crazy. Everyone does. And again. You think that wheelchair makes you special? It makes you garbage. Broken garbage. The room was silent. Marcus's business partner Tabena stood up slowly, his face twisted with disgust. I've known you for 15 years, Marcus, and I never knew I was standing next to a monster. He walked out. Marcus was breathing hard now, sweat on his forehead. These recordings are illegal. You can't. I can. Chief Emmanuel pulled out a folder. My legal team has already filed 17 charges against you. Domestic abuse, unlawful imprisonment, theft of marital assets, fraud, forgery. And that's just the beginning. He stood up, walked around the table, stood directly in front of Marcus. You took my daughter. You broke her. You made her believe no one was coming. You made her believe she was alone. His voice dropped to a whisper. You were wrong. The door opened, and Neka rolled in. Not the broken woman from the basement. She was dressed in white, hair styled beautifully, makeup done, sitting tall in her wheelchair, and her eyes were on fire. Marcus stumbled backward. Neka, listen, I can explain. No. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the room. You don't get to explain. You get to listen. She rolled forward. For 3 years, you told me I was nothing. You told me I was worthless. You told me no one would ever want me. Help me or love me. She stopped directly in front of him. You were wrong about everything. She looked at Blessing. This woman, the one you called just the maid, she has more integrity in her little finger than you have in your entire body. She fed me when you starved me. She gave me hope when you tried to crush it. She documented every moment of your cruelty because she believed justice would come. She looked at her father, and this man, my father, never stopped fighting for me. Even when you forged my signature, even when you lied to the courts, even when you convinced the world I didn't want to be saved. He never gave up. She turned back to Marcus. You wanted to break me. You failed. You wanted to isolate me. You failed. You wanted to destroy me. She leaned forward. You all failed. Marcus fell to his knees. Literally, his legs gave out. He collapsed on the conference room floor, shaking. Please, he begged. Please, Neka. I was stressed. I wasn't myself. I'll change. You'll go to prison. Chief Emmanuel's voice cut through. Where you belong. The door opened again. 2 police officers walked in. Marcus Obi, you're under arrest. They pulled him to his feet, handcuffed him, and as they walked him out, Marcus passed by Blessing. He stopped, looked at her with hatred. You were supposed to be nobody. Blessing smiled. That's the thing about nobodies, Mr. Obi. We see everything, and we remember it all. She held up the leather notebook. Every single word. They took him away. And Neka, for the first time in 3 years, laughed. A real laugh. A free laugh. Marcus Obi was convicted on 14 counts. He received 23 years in federal prison. His company was dissolved. His assets were seized. His reputation was destroyed beyond repair. The story made national news. Tech CEO convicted of horrific abuse against disabled wife. The headlines ran for weeks. But Neka didn't care about the headlines. She cared about healing. With her father's help, she moved back to her own apartment, a beautiful, accessible space overlooking Lake Michigan. She started physical therapy again, not because she expected to walk, but because she wanted to be the strongest version of herself. And she founded a nonprofit organization. She called it the Notebook Project. Its mission, to train domestic violence advocates to document abuse carefully and legally, so that survivors would have the evidence they needed when they were finally ready to escape. Blessing Ahmadi became the organization's first director. You saved my life, Neka told her on the day they opened the first office. How do I ever repay that? Blessing shook her head. You don't repay it. You pass it on. Every woman we help, every monster we bring down. That's the repayment. Inika reached out and held her hand. Then let's save as many as we can. 1 year later, Neka sat on her balcony, watching the sun set over Lake Michigan. Her phone buzzed. A text from Blessing. 12 cases won this month. 12 women free. All because of the documentation protocols you developed. Neka smiled. She had spent 3 years in a basement, believing she was worthless. Now she was helping women around the country escape their own basements. Marcus had tried to destroy her. Instead, he had created something he never anticipated. A warrior. Her father's words came back to her. Something he had said when she was a little girl. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. She had been through the fire, and she had come out steel. The wheelchair didn't define her. The suffering didn't define her. What defined her was what she chose to do with both. And she chose justice. Ineka spent 3 years in that basement. 3 years being was right. Justice didn't just knock. It was right. Justice didn't just knock. It kicked the door down. If you believe that the cruel never get away, forever, if you believe that the silent ones are often the most powerful, then subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because in these stories, the wicked always fall, and the broken, they always rise stronger.